Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you're well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some r/mad butthole. And if you love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too. All really helps out, truly does. And let's crack on with today's first story. And today's first story comes from Throwdad7755 and it does follow with an update as well, titled, "Am I the arsehole for refusing to walk my daughter down the aisle? I, male 49, have two daughters, Marie 27 and Julie 23. For context, Julie is not my biological daughter since I married my current wife when she was only 2, and since her dad was absent, I adopted her as my own, but I love both my daughters the same. This being said, I am closer to Julie since she has and still lives with us, and we do almost everything together. Instead, Marie is closer to her mum. Mainly because her mum got full custody of her and has never lived with me. Now to the main issue. Julie got engaged about a year ago and immediately asked me to walk her down the aisle. I of course agreed and have actively helped her with the planning of the wedding, which is scheduled to October 2022. A couple of weeks ago, Marie asked me to go grab a coffee with her and let me know she's currently pregnant and will soon get married. To be honest, this got me off guard since I didn't even know she had a boyfriend. She apparently will have a quiet, fast wedding since she doesn't want to show off too much, meaning her wedding will be in 3 months. She says it'll be a small ceremony and asked me to walk her down the aisle. I felt weird about it since I don't even know her fiance and it's all so sudden, so I asked her to let me think about it. It seemed like this answer surprised her, but she understood. I then went home and let my wife and daughter know. And Julie asked me to please decline since she wanted to be the first one to be walked down the aisle since she asked first. Thinks that I have a stronger commitment to her. I agreed since this is more of an us thing rather than an afterthought like Marie's wedding. I then sent a message to Marie letting her know of my decision with a brief explanation and even offered options like her mum or stepdad walk with her. I also reassured her that I'd still be with her there and support her with anything. She almost immediately called me crying and telling me how much of a horrible father I am and how I apparently have always played favourites. Which hurt me since it's simply not true. I love them both. I tried to explain my reasoning, but she said it doesn't matter and doesn't care about my excuses. She ended up hanging up and my ex has been sending me tons of texts berating me and calling me names. Now word has spread to some family members and they are calling me a deadbeat and trash. But my wife and daughter agree that my decision is the only fair one and shouldn't be pressured into doing something I don't want. I'm starting to feel guilty, but I'm honestly unsure. Am I the arsehole for refusing to walk my daughter down the aisle? And then there was obviously some comments and the edit said, I don't know what to do now. These comments have really opened my eyes on how horrible I was to my daughter. I feel like I've been oblivious to several things I did and allowed to happen. I feel like the worst arsehole there is and I don't even know if there's room to fix it. I'll try to reach out to her, but after reading your opinions, I doubt she'll accept and I totally get it. Edit 2. I posted a proper update on my page. Thanks for helping out, and we will go to that in a moment. And there was some wording in this one that really jumped out to me, you know, that she accused you of always playing favourites. And obviously we haven't got the full picture on that, so we can only go with what's been written here. And I wonder how much that has really happened in the past. But you also said that, you know, that you love them equal. And one of the first things that jumped into my head is like, how could you love your daughters like equally when you're not showing it in this one post alone? And what's Julie got against her sister so much that she wouldn't allow it to go ahead? According to this, Marie's not going to have this big flashy wedding, so there isn't going to be many people there anyway. So what's wrong with having her father walk her down the aisle first? Surely it wouldn't make any difference to Julie's wedding, and the language that, you know, she wanted to be the first one to be walked down the aisle because since she asked first. I mean, oh, come on, man. And whilst I can see, you know, a ton of regret in your edits there, and I really do hope you can build your relationship back up somehow, but I think it's going to be incredibly tough from what I've seen in this one post. But advice is on the house says relationships are a two-way street. What did you do to try and be closer to Marie over the years? But you're the arsehole and you should know this. There is no reason why you cannot walk both your daughters down the aisle. The reasoning you gave is frankly stupid, and even if you were to change your decision, it's unlikely Marie would let you. Mysterious Boots 6883 says, unfortunately, you aren't the only arsehole here. Julie is as well. I can't even fathom being selfish enough to stop my sister from having her own father walk her down the aisle because I want to be first. Her entitlement is just insane, as is her mother's for thinking it's somehow fair. After reading your edit, perhaps you are not the arsehole, just oblivious, but I really do hope and encourage you to try and fix it with your daughter because this is beyond selfish and insensitive of all of you. Wow. Who says everyone sucks here? You raised both of them. You should walk both your daughters down the aisle. You may love them both, but that doesn't mean you treat them the same. Who gets married first is quite ridiculous. Please tell me they are more mature than they sound here, especially if they're having children. Pleb says, I'm not going to say you're the arsehole because Julie is the arsehole, but I do think that you were wrong to refuse Marie's request. More importantly, I think you are doing the right, brave and noble thing by telling Marie that you are sorry, that you realized you were wrong, and that you will be delighted to walk her down the aisle. And one more from Comfortable Iron 6482 who says, I don't really understand how you say you love them equal when you do anything for and the other you don't even know she has a boyfriend or is pregnant. Then reject her request for support, i.e. being walked down the aisle, because your favorite daughter wants to be the first. You're the arsehole. And with that being said, let's move on to the update to see what happens next. So update. Hello everyone, for any context, here's the original post, and I tried to update on Am I the Arsehole but sadly got taken down, and I was advised to post here. Before anything, I want to thank everyone who gave their opinion. Though harsh, it helped me see how much of an arse I was. Now to the update. Tons happened after my post and since my edit. I tried calling and texting Marie, but she rejected my calls. Eventually I was able to talk to my ex, who told me that Marie wasn't in a position to talk since I put a lot of stress on her and could be dangerous because of her pregnancy. I didn't want to cause more harm, so I stopped bothering her, but I did let my ex know that I felt horrible and wanted to apologize. She, once again, called me out on my BS but agreed on talking to her. On Tuesday, she finally answered my text and agreed on talking, but only over the phone and with her mum there. Of course I agreed and we had a long but productive talk. As a lot of you guessed, she has been bottling up a lot of resentment towards me and Julie's relationship and opened up about how she always felt left out and pushed away. She actually told me several events I wasn't aware of between her, Julie and my wife. I apologized profusely and offered to walk her down, and surprisingly, she accepted my apology but said she isn't ready to accept me to walk her down the aisle at this time, since now the thought of it makes her mad and sad. I understood but insisted that I will if she asks again. We agreed of me meeting her fiance, as many of you suggested. It'd be later in the week, on Sunday. Turns out they've been dating for almost 2 years. She never thought I'd care, so never introduced us, and I never stopped to ask her about her love life. She is still hurt but is trying to stay stress-free, so I'll try to keep it that way. She didn't ask for anything else but didn't uninvite me either, luckily. I did offer her to go to therapy, but she said she's already going but agreed on looking on the possibility of going together. As for Julie and my wife, I talked to them earlier today. I held on telling them to sort things out with Marie first. I sat them down and confronted them about how they had treated Marie. My wife didn't say much and said she didn't have the time or energy for that conversation. Julie denied everything, which I of course don't believe. Then I dropped the bomb and everything exploded. My wife asked why I'm babying my daughter and allowing her to bully me into changing my mind. I couldn't help but laugh seeing the irony. She ended up being fed up and leaving the room. Julie got mad immediately and asked me why I was ruining her special day and everything we worked for. Not gonna lie, I did feel sad seeing her upset, but I let her know her wedding and walking is still happening. She started crying and stayed in her room all day until now. My wife is currently ignoring me and I'll probably have to sleep in the guest room. As for now, I'm looking forward on being there for both my daughters and future grandchild. I know Julie would get over it eventually. She tends to be like this. So Reddit, thank you for helping me see the dumbass I was and helping me to maybe salvage my relationship with my daughter. And there was some confusion in the comments on this post saying, you know, what was the bomb? What was the bomb that he dropped? And it was, you know, that he was going to be walking Marie down the aisle, and that's when it all exploded. Just clearing that up, just in case there's anyone else. And I don't know, I'm not sure how I felt when I got to the end of this one. It was like, and the only way I could really express it was this comment that came up from Milo, who says, so he heard from Marie what everyone in the original post told him. His wife and stepdaughter systematically bullied his daughter out of his life, and he's just, oh. He tries to confront them, Julie cries, and his wife haughtily flounces off like she's above everything, and he just shrugs it off with a, well, off to the guest room with me. Like he did something wrong. Nothing else to be done. No argument, he was just neglectful and stupid in the first place for not seeing this from the beginning, but the jelly spine, underreacting, derpy, oh well tone. 2, this is infuriating. Time for a cigarette. And that's how it kind of felt to me at the very end. It just sort of felt very flat. It was like, yeah, oh well, they get over it sort of thing, you know, everyone will get over it in the end. Little thing here. Yeah, it just doesn't feel like it's the end. It feels like there's going to be more to come, and I just feel sorry for Marie in it as well. But what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from JThrowawayK57, who says, am I the arsehole for inviting my old friends to my wedding, despite my fiance's disapproval? I, male 33, and getting married to my fiance, female 32 next month. We knew each other from when we were in high school. I had an old group of friends that I wanted to invite to my wedding because they were close to me back then. When my fiance found out and read the name on every invitation, she went into panic mode. She said she doesn't want any member of this group in our wedding whatsoever. I asked her to explain, and she claimed they'd heavily bullied and harassed her in high school while she was still dealing with major health problems. She said they made her life hell and caused her mental health permanent damage. I asked her if she was serious because this was many years ago and everyone has matured by now. She said no, and that it doesn't make sense that I want to invite them when I don't even hang out with them since God knows when. I said true, but most of them are from my neighborhood, parents' house, and they were part of my childhood teenage years, and I wanted them to be invited. Plus, I'm in constant contact with some of them. She said she'll veto my decision, but I argued that it was ridiculous that she is so hung up on some petty high school drama. She started crying, saying I have no consideration for how she feels and felt like I was prioritizing this group over her. I refused to argue anymore because I felt like she keeps disrespecting my choices, yet I got called the selfish one in this whole situation. She's still arguing with me about it, and it's getting exhausting because I don't tell her to invite this person or that person. Am I the arsehole then? Gee whiz, now I'll come straight in with it already, because if you're a long time member of this channel, you know where I'm going to go with this. So I'll put a little disclaimer in there that I may be biased because I was bullied heavily in my last couple of years of school. They made my life absolute hell, and I still don't forgive them to this day, and I never will. The memories of what these people did are a part of me now, and they will forever be a part of me. And knowing that your wife has to go through that, and you know, you're just so blasé about her feelings. Yeah, I'm inviting these people along. You should get over it. It's some petty high school drama. I've been done with you there and then. These people made her life absolute shit, and you just can't even respect what she's saying. That's insane to me. Absolutely, you're going to be the arsehole to me, 100%. But SRS Strategy Gamer says, you're the arsehole. Let me get this straight. You want to invite them because back in the day, you hang out with them. But her being bullied does not count because it's years ago. Edit. Oh dear. And thank you for the awards. Undante79 says, info, do you even like your fiance? She's talking about trauma caused by these people, and you're being so dismissive. If it's more important for you to have high school buddies at your wedding than it is for your bride to be happy, you should probably reevaluate the whole marriage thing. Edit. Solid, you're the arsehole for you, neighbor, for all the reasons other posters have mentioned, plus the fact that your replies have the tone of someone who can't even conceive of being in the wrong. Sushi Magpie says, you're the arsehole. It sounds like you don't care about your future wife. Dear Guesser says, you're the arsehole. Look, I know it's your wedding too, but these people cause a lot of damage to her mental health. You haven't seen them in years, so why are you prioritizing them over your future wife? If you want to catch up, go and hang out with them, but don't invite ghosts of the past to a special day. That could cause a panic attack or breakdown in your wife. Momo No replies that saying, when I got married, I had a horrible boss that had me crying in my car most mornings. I I wanted to invite some of my co-workers, but I knew it would create drama to invite some and leave her out, so I chose not to invite anyone from my work, because the thought of having to see her face at my wedding gave me so much anxiety that it wasn't worth having some of my close work friends there. Bullying really fucks with your mental health. You're the arsehole, OP. Now, what do you guys make of this one? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and we'll move on to another story. And our next story comes from Throwaway Account, who says, am I the arsehole for not putting my husband's children in my will? My husband Jack and I married later in life. We're both in our 50s. It was a second marriage for both of us. He has 3 children. I don't have any biological children, but I am still very close to my former stepson Thomas that I helped raise. We were both very well off financially, Jack more than me. Jack owned his business and was upfront that he intended that the business be left to his children. We signed a prenup before our wedding that basically said we each get to keep what we brought into the marriage. We kept our finances separate, though we both contributed to a joint account for household expenses, which we split 50-50. We did our wills at this time. Jack left everything to his children and I left mine to Thomas. We were both aware of what the other had done and we were fine with it. Jack's business went under about 4 years ago. He was desperate to keep the business going and poured all his savings into it. The business had been his grandfather's and then his father's, and he was determined to be able to hand it down to his children. He ended up losing almost everything. He was completely devastated. Standard of living wise, not much changed except that I'm paying 100% of household expenses. I love him and I am fine with this. I had a health scare about a month ago where I realized that if I died, Jack would be left with nothing, as my will gives everything I own to Thomas. I told Jack that I was planning to change my will. My plan was to put a third of my assets into a trust for Thomas's children. He has 2 currently that both call me Nana, a third directly to Thomas and a third in trust for Jack. I would set it up so that Jack would receive a generous monthly check, but that after he died the assets in the trust would go to Thomas. I did it that way because I want Jack taken care of while he is alive, but after that I want it to go to Thomas, not Jack's kids. Jack is furious that his children aren't going to receive anything. He kept pointing out that I have 3 stepchildren, not just one former one. Why are his kids getting nothing and Thomas everything? I should say that by the time we got together, Jack's children were grown. One already had a child and another was married. Other than the occasional holiday, I have never lived with Jack's kids. While he is not mine biologically, Thomas is my son in every way that counts. While I get along with Jack's kids, we are not close at all. Jack is threatening to leave me over this. He keeps saying that if I don't care about his kids, that means I don't care about him. I've told him that is nonsense and I don't respond well to ultimatums. We had planned to leave our assets separately before we were even married, but now that he doesn't have money, suddenly he wants me to leave money to his kids. Am I the arsehole for not wanting to? To me in this one, it just sounds like, unless I've missed something here, that this was the plan all along until it all went belly up for Jack's business. I mean, he was going to give the business to his children and that would have been it. You wouldn't have had part of that by the sounds of it. But now it's all fallen through. Jack suddenly wants you to start parting your money to his children because he can't pass anything on. And I can't blame you for not responding well to an ultimatum like that. That's crazy. But Coco says not the arsehole and quotes, we kept our finances separate. Then says, you kept your finances separate. Then quotes again saying Jack left everything to his children and I left mine to Thomas. Then goes on to say, he knew of the deal. Now he is changing because his financial situation changed. He was the one making more in the first place and he did not care about your money. But because now he has less, he cares about your money. Would he have added your stepson to his will and divided his assets 4 ways if you had lost a lot of money? I seriously doubt it given his behavior. An OP reply saying I do not believe he would have. And I would not have understood that. Thomas is my son, in heart, former stepson legally, not Jack's. Courage for Life says, easy fix, don't change your will, leave it as is, everything to Thomas, and tell hubby to get a job or leave. You don't need that crap at your age. Not the arsehole, hubby has shown his true colours. Thank God you have a prenup. Always backfires of the other party when they lose everything and now want what's yours. OP says, I want to be clear, I love my husband and have no desire for a divorce. I don't want or need Jack to get a job. I'm perfectly fine supporting both of us. I am fine making sure he has money to live on if I pass before he does, but I will not let him bully me into leaving what I have accumulated in my life to his children instead of Thomas. Tigerlaugh says, holy crap, Jack is entitled quite much. It's your money, and his kids have zero entitlement to it. Not the arsehole, and if he wants to leave you over this, then you get to see his true colours. And OP replies saying, I know, this really took me by surprise. I love him a lot, but he changed since he lost his business. He's become angry. Never at me, but at life in general. And that is not him. But I refuse to give in on this, and I hate ultimatums. My ex used to do that to me. And Georgie Girl replies to that one saying, his ego is wounded. He's depressed and feels ashamed that he won't have anything to leave his kids, and that they'll think less of him for not having money to give. He likely feels very emasculated that you're now covering 100% of the household expenses, and he contributes nothing. I'm sure there's a lot of complicated feelings he's having, not to mention, he's the one who let the several generation family business fail. He feels like a failure through and through. He would benefit from therapy, and you both in couples therapy with a different counsellor. But my best bet, he's not in for that. I hope I'm wrong. Good luck, OP, not the arsehole. Now, I'm going to swing this one your way. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, and just a huge thank you for spending your time with me today. Getting involved in the stories, your love, time and support always means the absolute world to me, and I will hopefully, you cheeky so-and-so, see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Much love.
Wake up, get up, stretch my legs, eat some breakfast, milk and eggs, brush my teeth up, wash my face, throw my clothes on, start my day. Wake up, I can smell the smoke from the bacon. Let's go, see the sun shining from the windows. Okay, I know that today